Hi, today is episode 3 of the Talking Web podcast. It is July. Let me check my mic is on, it does seem to be. And today is a bit of a lesson learned, and it's a lesson learned by me this week. And it's a lesson I should have known, and I do know, and I'm normally very good at. It's about client expectations. And so much of website projects is about managing client expectations. On the part of the agency, you've got to manage, that's me, you've got to manage your expectations of your clients. And your clients, if they're marketers, very often they've got to manage the expectations of a board or a senior leadership team above them. All about managing the expectations. And in the last fortnight, it's come to light about something that I didn't manage. One reason that, or two things happened, and I should have foreseen both of them, and one of them is mainly about managing expectations. So a client came to us and wanted to know if we could do a website that was very good for SEO. Like they do a lot of work. A lot of their work is to do with SEO. They're like they do a lot of like academic research and legislation stuff. And we said, yeah, that is what our main thing, or one of our main thing. Membership sites, bespoke anything, but a big thing of what we do is SEO, improving on it, or at the very least maintaining it, and getting great results for people from a technical build, with where SEO is really important. And one of our clients we've looked after for like over 15 years, they can get over 2 million visitors on a busy day, and that's because of the SEO we've done for them for ages. So and this client, after we launched their site, their traffic went down, like really down. And I just went into panic mode, not like to the client, but like with the guys, like, oh my God, we've got to find the reason. What is it? I didn't think it would be us. I didn't actually think it would be us, because I know what we do. I know that we've done all the steps that we do. But I just assumed, what have we done wrong? What have we done wrong? We've got to find the smoking gun. I don't want them to get another agency in and find out what we have done wrong. At the very least, they should hear from us what we've done wrong. We should find that we can report. We should be the ones to find it, and we should be the ones to own it and apologise and put it right, and then start to build it back up. And then when we found out what it was just that we all knew, and the client knew, that, there's two things, like I say. One thing is that they were having a massive content cull. They had so much content that they built up over years and years and years, and this site was out of control. It was unwieldy. And they needed to cull a lot of content. So when they populated the new one, and they populated it, we do a thing where in our quote we'll include like a day or two of populating content, and then we can do more if you want us to. And they paid us for a few more days, but said like, now do this page please, now do this page, we haven't got time, or it's a bit complicated. But it lets the client's budget go further, because the whole point is, if you've built them a CMS that's easy for them to update, they don't necessarily need to pay an agency to then update it for them, because they can do it themselves. And that works really well for a lot of people in a lot of budget situations. So we didn't really know what content was going on it and what content wasn't. But they did this content cull. And basically, a lot of the stuff they decided was out of date and not relevant anymore was still bringing them traffic. And without it, that traffic dropped off. And we did like all the 301 redirect. We did all the legacy stuff that you should do. But at the end of the day, if that content just isn't there anymore, it drops off. And that happened. And that's like no one's fault. And that is absolutely fine. And that was the right thing to happen, because if you don't keep old content just for the sake of it, it was out of date, it can be dangerous if people get the wrong idea about stuff, or if someone misquotes you, or you said this, or we said it 7 years ago, we didn't still mean it. So it was the right thing that happened, but I should have flagged to them, okay, cool, understand you're having a content cull, but you came to us for SEO, just a heads up, this could reduce your traffic, because in the long term, Google will find that it is 404ing, because it shouldn't 301 if that just isn't there anymore. You shouldn't redirect a URL to something that isn't the equivalent of what it was. So a 301 redirect is where you say something used to be here, but because we've done a new website, the URL has had to change, so now it's here. And you do that. It was here, now it's here. Ideally, you don't change the URL. Ideally, you keep it the same. But if you have to change it, you say it used to be here, and now it's here. But if it's not anywhere anymore, then it's not really right to 301 it. you 404 it and you put up an explainer page about why you're 404ing it and stuff. But then Google thinks, oh, well, that's just not there anymore. Fine. So Google does the right thing. It was all ends up the right thing. But that didn't stop the board sort of worrying when they saw the traffic going down. So once we proved that was fine. But the big thing, and again, I could have been aware of this, is that ends up their old cookie tool wasn't working. Ends up, thanks to the Wayback Machine, and the bit I was gutted about was that this took me a while for it to dawn on me. Because like I say, they reported the issue, freaked out, panicked, assumed it was the content cull at first, suggested a few more 301s and stuff like that, but on the whole, like, explained to them it's because you had a content cull, they were cool with that. But it was just such a big, I was like, something else isn't quite right here. And then it dawned on me, and so I got the guys, my developers, to go through the Wayback Machine, found what their old website looked like, looked at the code, and their old website was loading Google Analytics before someone opted out of cookies. So they would load Google Analytics as soon as the page loaded. Then someone would click to say, no, I don't accept cookies. And Google Analytics would be removed again. But Google Analytics was still counting that first count. And so when we relaunched the site, we relaunched it with a working cookie tool that doesn't load Google Analytics until you opt in, which is what you're supposed to do and what these people really needed to do, considering their status and that they're a charity as well as like an important organisation. So now it works well. But obviously, before, every visitor was being counted by Google Analytics, and now only the ones who purposely opt in are being counted by Analytics, and that meant that their traffic in Google Analytics just looks like it's fallen off a cliff. And one of the ways that we sort of back this up as well, like we could prove it by showing them the code of the old website, but the other way of backing it up was to show them how Google Analytics was reporting traffic as being way down across all avenues. So it was down via search, it was down via direct traffic, so less people were just coming directly to their website. It was down via social. My phone ran out of room, so I'm going to try and wrap this up and then try and join the two videos together. But yeah, it was down via social media traffic, so just less people were randomly coming from social media once the site had launched. Unlikely. Less people were clicking through from their newsletters, which they weren't sending any less of. Unlikely. So something looked like that was all pointing towards something being wrong with the analytics, something was wrong with the recording. So it was actually that we found first, before then we went and on the Wayback Machine and looked at how their old cookie tool had worked, because then that made me think, right, what could be wrong with the analytics? We're doing something differently than the old people. And one suggestion was, that I thought of, was that they were recording things wrongly before. So yeah. Again, if I had known that, if we had checked their old cookie tool, and this one I don't feel so bad about, because why would we have checked the old cookie tool? Why would we have done that? But it is still something I'll be doing more often going forward. We will check the old cookie tool works, because, and it's something to have in mind for any projects you're doing, because if your old cookie tool wasn't working, or you didn't have it, or you were collecting Google Analytics, whatever, and now you are implementing a proper cookie tool and you're not allowing Google Analytics unless people opt in, Google Consent Mode version 2 is a whole other thing, where even if they don't opt in, it will try to model it and stuff based on anonymous pings or something. So okay, maybe that's not quite such a big deal if you're going from not proper to Google Consent version 2. But if you are going from anyone could see it to now people have to opt in, brace yourselves, brace your team, brace your boss, brace your senior leadership team, that could cause a real poop in traffic. That is all.